So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and open our field here, and we'll create a new field. And when you get to the pattern type, go ahead and highlight it, and you can see all the different patterns we have. And we will scroll down and highlight headland pattern. The headland pattern gives us options as far as driving a complete circuit around the outside of the field and up to multiple different times or circuits around the field, and then infilling those headland areas with a straight AB line or a straight A plus line. So let us continue here with the headland, and we will leave our implement at 30 feet wide. And here in the internal pattern, that is how you're going to fill in the internal part of the field with a straight line, whether it be an AB line or the A plus line. We're going to do an AB line for today. This next screen here asks you how many circuits or how many times you want to drive around the perimeter of the field. And today we are going to choose one. You can do up to 125 on here. A lot of guys that I deal with, they've been driving either 2 or 3 circuits around the outside of the field when they're planting corn. Seems to be a norm thus far. But today we will just do 1 circuit and then hit the green arrow. On this page we're confirming our client, farm, field, and event information. You can be very detailed in this. With the headland pattern, it is something you may want to come back to at a later date. And if you save it underneath specific names, it'll be easier to get back to. The other reason being, with the headland pattern, we are actually drawing a boundary around the outside edge of the field when we are doing our first circuit. And so to have this boundary to calculate your acres in the field, to operate your section control, may be necessary to be able to bring that back up at a later time. And you have your record keeping page. You can enter anything or nothing on this page, whatever you would prefer. And we have opened up our field, and you will see a new icon that has come up on the screen. It says Start Headland. So whenever you're ready to start your headland, you can go ahead and hit that button. I'll give myself some speed here. On the first circuit going around the field, we are going to be drawing a boundary. We can paint the first circuit around the field. We can also, is the time when we want to enter in our AB line. This is something that must be done on that first circuit around the field, whether it's a straight circuit that you're driving or curved, whichever side of the field you would like to base your AB line off of for your infill pattern. You want to do that on that side of the field. On your first circuit, that's one of the more critical things to know about this pattern. So whenever you're ready to start, we'll go ahead and hit the Start Headland button, and you will see that our A icon lit up. And at any time that you can set your A point and then plot your B point, and you'll see a pause swath came up. If you're driving around and you need to pause, if you want to back into a corner or something to that effect, or drive around an obstruction and you don't want that as part of the boundary, you can go ahead and do that at any time. You will notice that right now it's drawing a line right behind us, straight behind the tractor where the antenna would be. And if you would like, you could be painting this first complete round if you would like to. Well, in fact, we'll just turn that on here. And I will zoom out so you can kind of see what the complete field looks like here. So on this side of the field where I just made my turn here, this is where I'm going to want to, for me, I'm going to want to plot my AB line, because this is the straighter side of the field. So if I hit the A button, I've plotted my A point now. And you can see now, after we've gone to minimum 30 feet, the B icon lit up. So at any time now, I could plot my B icon, my B point on here. That is up to you. I still recommend driving to the other end of the field to set it, but you do not have to. Anytime after it's lit up on the screen, you can plot your B point. So I'll go ahead and plot my B point now. And now you will see our headland button lit back up again. And we're going to continue to drive around our first circuit of the field back to where we started. And once we get back to where we started, we are going to push our end headland. I zoom back in now as we're getting closer to where we started, so you can see better what it looks like when you end your field. I'm going to turn my paint off now as I come into this corner so you can see the boundary here a little bit better. So at any time now you could push the end headland button, or you will notice that all of a sudden, once we got within a few feet of where we started, there's a certain diameter that you need to get within, approximately 50 feet or so. Once you get within that, it'll automatically finish your first circuit, therefore recording your boundary, and you will see we have a red guidance line behind where we were driving. You will see a black line to the right of where I'm driving now. That is your actual boundary. So it automatically drew it on the outside edge of your implement, the right hand side. And you will also see very light gray. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, see if it shows up better for you or not. There's a gray inner line. It's kind of hard to see here. You can kind of see it on the screen, and that is based on your implement width. As you went around, so it's kind of like an inner boundary. So what that means is I could have not painted my first round, and I would have section control going into that inner light gray line that is drawn, and that'll shut off. If I turn it on in a display, that'll shut off your section control without covering or painting your outside round if you so desire. So now we have completed our first circuit of the field, and we want to go into the center of the field and complete our infill pattern. So all we need to do now is, if we drive inside the internal part of the field, as soon as we get into the internal part of the field, you saw all of our AB lines come up on the screen, but not until we drove inside our headland circuit. Once you do that, all your AB lines will come up. As you make a turn and go back the other way, you can see how the line you're closest to or your next pass is extended out through the end. You can engage your steering on that pass if you so desire. It'll give you multiple lines throughout the whole rest of the way across your field, so that you can cover or skip a path if you decide to, or start in the center and work your way to the outside. It's whatever your preference is. So overall, this is how you complete a headland pattern. I will drive into the center of the field and we'll take a look at the whole thing as we go. When you engage your steering, it's going to paint for us on a display. You can see as we're going along our lines, if I zoom out here, you will see the LED lights across the top of the screen working, letting you know exactly where you're at on your line at all times, as well as you can watch the actual measurement in the upper left of your display as you're going through the field. So if we stop here in the middle of the field and let's zoom out so you can see what went on here. So you can see what we did. We drove one circuit around the outside of the field, and while we were on that circuit we plotted our A point here, our B point here. We continued to drive the whole way around the outside of the field, and once we got back to our starting point, once we got close enough, it automatically finished our circuit and created a boundary for us. And you can see where these blue lines are stopping. If you can't see that gray line, where these blue lines are stopping, that's that internal boundary that I was talking about earlier. So one option you have in this pattern is if we go back and go into settings and we go to guidance, and along the right hand side you see this headland infill switching. You can see you have the choice of automatic or manual. Now we were set to automatic so that as soon as you drive inside your headland circuit, your first circuit or second or third or fourth, however many you do around the field, you can automatically switch to your AB lines or your straight back and forth lines in the center of your field. If you would like to, you can switch to manual and hit the green check, and we'll go back to our field, and you can see our AB lines have gone away, but we still have our exterior line around the outside of the field. If you want to switch to the interior lines, you need to go to guidance, and the bottom center icon is locked to infill. So if you press that button, now your AB lines have come up on the screen, and at any time you can go in and change to those, or you could change back to your first circuit around the outside part of your field. One thing to note is if you go into your status button, you can see that your field area now says 3.5 or 3.15 acres, and that is the area inside the boundary that we drew around our first pass of the field. And you can see our coverage went up to 0.87 acres as we were going around the outside of the field and making a partial pass through the field. So this concludes on how to set up a headland pattern in your field, and at any time whenever you open this pattern, you also have the option of adding in your boundaries as exclusion zones if you would like. See the boundary and exclusion zone video if you would like to see how to do that. Thank you very much.